All right, so back to you first. I took you up to the foul line. I showed you different foot placements compared to a target to create different angles.
Right.
I think you're in the habit of setting up a good 5 boards too far left.
Okay.
Okay. And that's what's causing about a 5 board drift to the right. Okay. So that's about the center of your left foot, right about there. That's straight. Not too bad on that. Okay. That's straight. That one goes a little bit to the right. And that, if that goes to the right, it tends to get in the way of your swing. Okay. And then you kind of come over with your slide. So it's really step 4.
Yeah.
But usually, if it's at the end, that's just your body saying, if you want me to hit that, I need to be over there.
Yeah.
Okay. And even at that, that ball's a little bit outside of your. See how that's a little bit outside of your head, and there's a gap kind of here. So the more that's out, there shouldn't be a gap between your left foot and that ball that much. The more your direction can go off on angles. Okay. If we look at a different shot, it's probably going to look the same. Okay, so same setup. Yep. So you can see you're coming over about 5 boards. Here's the center dot. Those 3 light boards are 19, 20, and 21. So you can see you're sliding right around 18-ish to play.
18, 19 is where if I look down,
Yeah.
that's almost always where I'm at.
Correct. And that's to play like 9 to about 6. Now, had you walked straight and slid over here, you hit the same target, you would have had a big angle.
Right.
Okay. And you can kind of see it's kind of step 4. Okay. We always want the 2 sets with the right leg to stay in, or else it gets in the way of your swing. I'll show you a quick example here. If you watch the 2 sets with the right leg, they both stay kind of in a little bit tighter. Okay? And that gives him more room for his swing. So you notice really close to that left leg. It's kind of under the head. Okay? So we could probably move you over 4 boards or so and think about having the 2 sets with the right foot just kind of stay in, which might happen when you move over. Your body might sense like, oh, you're there. I don't have to go over there. Exactly. Okay. The more the swing is away from you, the more you're going to tend to either kind of just dump it out or pull it across. Okay. But that could be, yeah. Push away, you tend to push just a little bit to the right.
Okay.
So you kind of roll that out to the right a little bit. Okay. So don't think to push to your target. You're always going to stand left of your target. So if you think to push to the target, you push to the right. That push away, when you set up, the ball's just inside your shoulder. It should stay just inside the shoulder as you push. Okay.
And I'm actually trying not to push more, just to let it drop.
Okay. And we'll see that from the side. Okay. And you're still pushing. We'll see that from the side view. Yeah. Okay. We never want like a big push. Okay. In the setup position, just to create a little bit more space, you could have your hip just a couple inches left. I'm going to show you a comparison here. Say it has just a slight angle from the hip to the shoulder, like his little spine tilt. And see how you're more level. His right side is lower. Okay. Now, luckily, bodies don't like to fall over. We'd be on the ground all the time. If you stand level and you kind of lean over, you'll fall over. Okay. And same thing, if you move your hip left, you'd fall left. But luckily, the body doesn't like falling over. So what happens, if you move your hip a little bit left, the body will go a little bit right. And what that does, that creates more space for your swing. Okay. So you could stand in front of a mirror, kind of a good drill, with a ball. Stand in front of the mirror how you normally set up and think, like, how am I going to get that under my shoulder, under my head? If you move your hip left, body goes right, you have space. And that can help that swing stay in tight. And we'll see with him, nothing ever goes outside the shoulder, and the push rate drops kind of right in. Okay. Same thing with one of the women. They just create space. So when people bowl, yeah, the ball swings next to them, but we also want it swinging under their right side. So the head is more over the right leg. But it's really, that's tilted, but it's really because of the hip. Okay. And that just creates more space. Okay. All right. Let's go to the side view now with you. A few shots from the side. So the only thing I would change in your setup, I would just bring the ball a little bit closer to you. See, the elbow's already kind of in front of the shoulder. The further out you hold it, the heavier it feels. Okay? And what that can do, you push on time, but I think the ball comes down a little bit early. For your height swing, that center of the ball should be like just below the belt. Okay? See, it's out of that left hand. Should still be in that left hand. But I think part of the reason it's out early because you started out a little bit far. Okay? We just go overall motion. Okay. Now that there is one of your better finishes, and I'm going to stop you at the finish here. A couple things I like about this shot here. The follow through went up above your head, it had that little bend in it. That's a sign of being relaxed. The back foot stayed down. You can see you're kind of on the pinky toe side of your shoe. That's a sign to me that was a more relaxed shot. Okay. Let's pull up a couple different shots here. Notice on this one here, okay, follow through still went up good, but see that back leg never came over. Okay. So sometimes it's like you have weight on that back foot. And if you think of the slide foot is like 12 o'clock and then back here is 6, you're about 7:30, 8 o'clock. We kind of want that. That when you ended up at 6, it's like you're ending up on a balance beam. That sounds hard, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. See how the left arm had more motion on that one? That's a sign to me you pulled harder on that one. And when you pull hard, there'll be more motion on the opposite side, and it's hard to clear the back leg. Okay. If we look at a third shot, let's go to this one at the finish here. Okay. Same thing, you pull a little bit harder. And see, even there, see the arm has a little bit less bend in it. Okay. And again, the back foot, the leg tried to go over, but see the toes are pointing right. If the toes stay pointing right, it's hard to have the leg go left. Okay. So it gives you more kind of shaky balance. Okay. So we can work a couple shots on keep that back foot down, the back leg down, have the toes point a little bit left. Just to give you more solid, consistent balance. Okay.
And I can definitely feel it.
Yeah, yeah.
League and I'm bowling. I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm falling off to the right sometimes.
Correct. And that's a sign you pulled hard.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of that is just that subconscious mind of using muscle for power. You don't need muscle for power.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just hard for the brain to believe it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've been working so hard on that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Overall footwork really looks pretty good. Okay. So I don't think there's a no need to work on footwork here. Okay.
Maybe just on that step stand a little bit. Right?
Yes. I mean the distance of steps. Yes, exactly. Okay. Now, let's go into the timing again. So you push on time. Okay. Let's pull up that first shot. Let's just see on this one here. So if you look at that ball return in the background, see how much of the ball is below the ball return? Look at it on this one. Back foot's the same. So sometimes you tend to push quickly. Not early, quickly. Okay? And you see how that's more out of the left hand. It came down sooner. Okay? And that will tend to make your steps go a little bit quicker. Okay? Not that we ever want slow feet. But if you feel like your feet get fast early, it's probably because your arm is a little bit quick. Okay? Let's go to the next step and see what happens here. You see, you're off your back toe already on three. Okay, and that's because the ball was down sooner on two.
Right.
So your lower body reacts to your upper body, and even there, I got the back from the same. See, the ball's higher on the right. Okay, okay. The swing didn't go higher.
No.
It just starts coming down sooner. Okay, so that's a sign of being a little bit early in timing. Okay, so we can work on part of the reason I think sometimes you're down earlier is you're starting with the elbow forward. So we're going to move it back. Okay, you can do this at home with a mirror. Have a mirror to the right. You set up with a ball. You can see the elbow is just kind of below the shoulder. No motion on one. You ease it out and down to about belt level on two. It should still be in both hands. Okay? So we can kind of clean that up a little bit. And that in itself could help give you better balance. Okay? All right. Now, if we go to release, you're close on this. Even from the back to you, notice we don't see much of your arm. That's because it's kind of forward.
Yep.
Okay? Hand position wise, that's a really good hand position right there. Think about like a vertical equator of the ball. You're kind of dead center. Okay? We like that. As you go up, you go a little bit to the right half. Think about the vertical equator. That's usually a sign you're helping it. Okay? And if you help it up, you tend to help it down. Okay? You're kind of in the center there. Right about there, you're turning just a little early.
Yep.
If I draw that vertical equator here, around just a little early. Okay? And you'll still have a little rotation at the bottom, which is good. But when you turn a little bit early, then you still rotate. You have more spinny roll.
Yep.
Okay. Even there, like I can see your thumb and part of your palm with your thumb still in.
Yep.
Okay. And then right there, the thumb comes out. So I'm going to say that's the thumb coming out. I'm going to show you a little example. Usually, extra effort and muscle causes early turn. And you're way less muscle than you used to be.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've done a lot of good work on that, actually. Let's use Danielle for this. If I get her thumb out, so right there, her thumb is coming out, but notice I don't see her thumb.
Yep.
See, the back of the hand angle is a little bit different.
Yep.
And then if I go back a few tenths of a second,
Yep.
she's kind of in the center of the ball.
Yep.
Okay. If I go back with you, that's about the same point of the release.
Yeah. Go on the outside.
Yep. So you're turning a little bit early, kind of right up here. So that's where you can think about that equator and just think about the ring finger, the kind of inside half of your hand and your wrist, just staying by the equator longer on the way down. Okay. And that you always have to exaggerate to the opposite.
Sure.
And word things in the positive tense. Okay. If you think to yourself, don't turn early, the action of that is turn early. So if you think stay by that equator longer, the action is stay by the equator longer.
Right.
Okay. Our subconscious minds don't hear the word don't. They hear action.
Right.
Kind of like in golf, if you think don't hit the ball in the water, it goes there a lot.
Exactly. Don't hit it loud.
Correct, exactly. Or in bowling, don't chop this, don't pop up, don't fall off, or don't pull the shot, or
Yep.
So always make sure you're telling your body what you want instead of what you don't want. Okay. So the highest level bowlers, they'll rotate through the ball, not around the ball.
Right.
Okay. And that's pretty close. Every click of my computer is a tenth of a second. So really, from here down, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's less than a second. So you're pretty close. Okay. If I share with one of the guys tend to just come from a little bit stronger position. Keep in mind, I know it's not fair to compare to pros.
It's okay.
But it's good to see why they're so good.
After, right?
Yeah. And most of the highest level bowlers have way more forward roll than side roll. Okay. So he was about the same as you coming back. He just stays there though. It just never changes. So that's before he starts his release. Okay. Then you'll see he just kind of goes through the ball, not around the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Between Facebook videos and TikTok videos,
Yeah, yeah.
I've watched a lot
Yep.
of them,
Yep.
and this helps me definitely.
Yeah. And it's really kind of a result of the muscle and the pulling.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I'll show you a kind of last month I worked with this guy, and he's kind of a high, I would consider him a little bit of a higher level bowler that bowls nationals. Let's go to April here. In his full approach, he would have just a little early turn. Okay. Now, not there. Okay. Top, he's in a great position at the top. Right. Hey, that
Yeah.
looks familiar, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
It does.
Okay. And then, like, what he would say is his ball doesn't read that part of the lane the right way. Okay. So what I did with him, we did some foul line drills, and he was turning for early for a different reason. He would tend to really pull his swing up hard.
Yeah.
Okay. So we did this foul line drill, and this is where you're just right at the foul line. Now in this drill, the body's not going to move much.
Right.
So in this drill, if the ball falls from about that height, you should go that height in the backswing.
Right.
Okay. And if you watch here, his backswing goes up to his head. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's a sign he's helping it up. When you help it up, you help it down. And if you'll notice here, the hand position was better than full approach, but he still went just around a little bit early right there.
Right.
Okay, and that's what happens if your hands in a good position at the top and the arm just kind of falls down, it stays there. If your hands in a good position at the top and you kind of pull, that pulling motion makes your hand rotate early. Okay, so we did a couple more of those, and he didn't even know I was looking at his hand position, to be honest. And we did. This is the third one where I say like really crazy low backswing, and he had to feel like it was low so he wouldn't pull it, right? And after he threw this one, he goes, "That's how I want my hand come out of the ball." He goes, "I don't know what I did, but that felt great." And when I watched, he stayed in, and then at the bottom he rotated, and he didn't even try to do that.
Right.
That happened because he didn't use as much muscle.
Right.
Right? So it's the same kind of thing with you.
Right.
But it's so hard for the brain to believe you don't need muscle for power.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's coming through whether you help it or not.
Right.
Okay. But sometimes if you're kind of aggressive or quick with the push, you get aggressive with your swing. So we're going to go back and we're going to change your setup. We're just going to bring this closer.
Yeah.
We're going to hold it steady through one. Think about a nice, smooth, easy push on two. Okay. So we're going to try to get the ball more just below the belt on step two with you. Okay.
Right.
That's closer. You know, and if you draw a line from the center of the ball back, that's just a hair below the belt. You don't want it down here because you're not one of those kids that wears your belt down there.
Right. Yeah. No.
Okay. All right. I think overall, though, your game's in a pretty good spot.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's stop recording here. Save all that. Okay. So go ahead and get warmed up again,
Okay.
and then we're going to work on one thing.